Hello, this is Brian Hegney, instructor of Game and Interactive Media Design. So we just modeled a leg. Yay! Now we need to move up the body though, and this is going to be a little bit different. And it requires a couple more tools. So number one, I'm going to add another edit poly on top of my others. Oops, I forgot to label these. Let me label them right now. So this one is, oops, no, let me just right click and rename it. EP for edit poly, leg shaper. And this one is EP leg shaper 02. And this next edit poly is going to be waist. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go into my edge selection mode, double click it. Now here's where things get fun. I've alluded to this process in other videos. I'm going to hold down Shift, and in 3D Studio Max, when you want to extrude an edge, you can hold down Shift or an edge loop, but make sure you double click it to select the entire edge loop. Hold down Shift and drag it outward, or rotate it, or Shift and scale. Shift and shale, Shift and rotate, Shift and move, all does the same thing. I'm going to drag it out, and now we've got another thing here, and I'm going to tap E and rotate it perpendicular. Move it up here. I'm going to move it right about here and tap R so I can scale it. Now, ooh, look what I did here. I tapped R, and notice I can't use the middle triangle. Does anyone see why? Now, if I move this one smaller, look what happens in my left view. Whoop, 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 whoop. That is squash, and I do not like squash. So I'm going to make sure I tap R one more time to go back to normal scaling. Okay, so now I'm going to scale this like that. And tap M or W to move it. I'm just going to move it like that. Okay? Now you will notice, Hegney, you'll say, but he's still too skinny here. So I'm going to tap R again and scale it in my left view, rotate it downward in my left view to take, to show his little torso bend here. I'm going to make sure I can see through it. And move it. Again, this is a constant state of, whoops, not that scale. Scaling, rotating, and moving. Scaling, rotating, and moving. Scaling, rotating, and moving. Can I say it any more times, people? Scaling, rotating, and moving. There we go. Now I'm going to add another one because you can see the buttocks here kind of needs it, right? And so what I'm going to do is go to my Swift loop and hover over here, but hold down Shift. When I hold down Shift, it will interpolate between the edge loops and actually push it out a little bit. So left click there, and I'm going to right click, and then again, it has this whole edge loop selected. I'm going to tap R and scale it using the middle one. Tap W to move it a little bit out here. Come into this view, and whoops, double click it again. Scale it again in just this mode. There we go. This is decent for right now. Okay. And so now, let's see how that looks. Oh, and the last thing I want to point out is, you're going to say, well, why does it look so terrible here? It looks terrible there because we started the cylinder off with its cylinder smoothing groups, and when you extrude it, it loses those smoothing groups. So just know that's going to go away. If I was to put smoothing or smooth modifier on the top and set it to, not auto smooth, set everything to 1, it's going to go ahead and smooth that the way it is. So that's fine. Okay, so don't worry about that. If it looks like crud, it will look really good as we move forward. I'm going to keep my smooth on the top here and just let it hover at the top so that it's always smoothing it. And if I ever wanted to not smooth it, I'll just toggle this show end result toggle. Okay. Now's the next step. We need to actually create the groin area here. And so the way we're going to do that is to add another edit poly, you say. Tap 4 to go into polygon selection mode, and we are going to select these polygons right here, the ones that are on the inside. And what we're going to do is just delete them by hitting the delete key. Okay, easy peasy. And the next thing we'll do is tap the edge selection mode and hold down Control to select these edges just here, just the edges that used to be, let me right click and isolate selection, just these edges right in here on the inside. I isolated so our plane isn't in our face. Okay, there. I'm going to end isolate. Okay. With that selected, I'm going to go into front view and I'm going to shift drag. Yay, shift drag. And now what I'm going to do is actually flatten all of these polygons because they need a little bit of, I just want this to be perfectly flat along here. And the way you do that is down, 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 down under Edit Geometry. When you have the edge selection mode here, if you have a bunch of geometry selected, under Edit Geometry, you'll have this Make Planar option. Well, I only want to make planar in this X direction. You can see it's tugging in the X direction here. Now, if your gizmo says a different letter, like maybe, because I'm in view mode, what if I'm in world mode? Is that still X? Oh, that's still X, okay. Make sure you, oops, select those again. W. Why can I not? What's going on? What's going on? Select those. Oh my gosh. My gizmo disappeared. Okay, I have my gizmo back. I don't know where it went, but I just kind of closed it and saved it, closed it, and opened it back up. Oh, so make planar in the X direction. You can see what it did there. I'm going to zoom in here so you can see it more. And just click X, it'll make it straight here, and that's perfect. I'm going to drag it right here. Okay. Now, I'm starting to create the groin area. What I need to do is select these verts here, and this is where it's going to get a little bit less like what we're doing, or we've been doing, and we're going to work on like specific verts. So I'm going to select these two. I'm going to select all 4 of these by selecting Control. Oh, I guess I could have just selected the polygon. Oh well, I'm okay with that. And I'm going to go into this mode here. Let's see. Let's go into this view and just push them forward in the Y direction. By the way, as you get more familiar with modeling, you'll be more familiar and you'll more easily be able to move in a specific coordinate plane. There we go. And these verts here, I'm going to move downward. And I'm going to make that a little bit, adjust that like that. Okay, and those verts are right on top of each other. And this vert is fine the way it is. What we have here, though, the buttocks is obviously very weird. We're going to have to do the same thing with these 2 verts. And I'm going to go to left view. And I'm going to push them out just a little bit. There we go. And move this a little bit as well. We do have a little indentation in our back, but not so much. Okay, I'm just gonna... Modeling, you know, the human body is actually going to be really not, well, difficult. And so, you know, it's a skill all on its own. So that's more for an advanced 3D modeling class. All right. Here we go, and let's just check that out with the smoothness. That doesn't look terrible, does it? Great. Alright, now that we've done that, we actually have a whole other part of the body to do, right? And so let's do that with symmetry. We are going to add the symmetry modifier. On top of not everything, but just the edit polys that we've done. And of course, this is what it'll look like at first, because it will always do symmetry incorrectly. Don't worry about that. It added the plane, it added the symmetry mirror in the correct plane, but it just needs to move the plane. So I'm going to select, I'm going to go into front view, and in the select the mirror, and I'm going to move the mirror to basically 0. But I'm going to flip the mirror there. So, okay, that looks pretty good. Looks like he's wearing pants. All right. And we can see that. Now, we also want to slice along mirror and weld the seam. And you can see the threshold. If we increase the threshold too much, obviously just a bunch of stuff gets welded. You want to increase the threshold so that you know the center verts are going to get welded. And if we don't want this center seam, well, you know what? We do need that center seam. Okay, good. So this is what it looks like without. That's what it looks like with. And now you can see this, what's going to be the backbone here. And, you know, you'll have to probably come up here. We could add an edit poly on top of symmetry. And then we'll continue along with the torso just the way we have been. Everything else. So now we've got the torso, and I'm going to shift, drag it upwards. Let's go ahead, shift, drag it up, shift, drag it up, shift, drag it up. We're going to do 2 for the arm, like that. So I dragged it up once, twice, thrice, thrice. That's 4 times. And what I'm going to do here is the same thing I did with the legs. I'm going to double click to select, look at them in all of the views. I'm going to rotate them, move them, rotate, move, and scale. Rotate, move, and scale. Let's scale it always here. That's pretty thick. And then scale it back a little here, but you really have to rotate it before you can really see how it's going to be scaled properly. I'm coming, oh no, don't want to do that. Oh my god, I want to be normal. I do not want to twist these. I'm glad I did that. Do not twist them like that. We don't want to screw with that axis of rotation. Just this way around this, and then move it where you need to move it. I'm going to pause the video right now while I finish this, and just note, this is just the way we did the legs. Okay. Alright, so I just basically finished exactly what I would have done with the legs, just really spending time rotating, moving, scaling, and this looks pretty good. This is, I haven't done a body honestly in years, and this is much better than what I've done previously. There's still no butt there, but you know what? We can deal with that later. Things like the pectoral muscles, the abs, all the muscles we're actually going to form a little bit later. I'm going to continue on with the... well, I think what I'm going to do is stop it right here, and then we'll get into a little more advanced, like creating the arms and creating the neck in a moment.